hung it on the refrigerator, and called all their friends to brag. I told myself it did not matter. I told myself that Sophie had me, and that was enough. But deep down, it stung. It stung every time I saw my parents light up for Claire's family while treating Sophie like an accessory, a side character in the family story. Still, I kept sending the money. I kept showing up when they needed help moving furniture or fixing the fence. I kept playing my role because that is what I had always done. I was the dependable one, the one who did not complain, the one who made things easier for everyone else, even when no one made things easier for me. Sophie asked me once why Grandma and Grandpa did not love her the way they loved her cousins. She was 6 at the time. We were driving home from their house after a Sunday dinner where Mom had fussed over Claire's kids and barely looked at Sophie. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles going white, and I told her that they did love her. They just showed it differently. It was a lie. I knew it was a lie. But what else could I say to a 6-year-old who was just starting to understand that love was not always equal, that some people played favorites and no amount of trying would change it? I thought that was the worst it could get. I thought I had seen every version of being overlooked, every quiet dismissal, every moment where my contributions were taken for granted. I thought I had built up enough resilience to handle whatever came next. I was wrong. The call came 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. I was at my desk reviewing a project timeline when my phone buzzed. Mom's name lit up the screen. I answered on the second ring. "Nathan, honey, I need to talk to you about Thanksgiving," she said. Her tone was casual, like she was discussing the weather. I leaned back in my chair. "Sure, Mom. What's up?" There was a pause, then she said it. "This year we are doing an adults-only Thanksgiving. No kids. It has just gotten too messy with all the little ones running around, and I want something more elegant. You understand, right?" I blinked. For a moment, I thought I had misheard her. "Adults only?" "Yes," she said, her voice firm now. "Just the grown-ups. It will be so much nicer without the chaos. You can still come, of course. Just leave Sophie with a babysitter or something." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "You want me to leave my daughter out of Thanksgiving?" "Oh, Nathan, do not be dramatic," she said, sighing. "It is just one holiday. She will be fine. You can celebrate with her another day." I wanted to argue. I wanted to ask her how she could say something so cruel. But instead I heard myself say, "Okay, Mom, I understand." "Wonderful," she said brightly. "I knew you would get it. I have to run. I will see you on Thanksgiving." She hung up before I could respond. I sat there staring at my phone, replaying the conversation. In my head, adults only, no kids. It will be too messy. I thought about Sophie, who loved Thanksgiving, who loved helping me make mashed potatoes and setting the table, who had already started drawing pictures of turkeys to give to her grandparents. I told myself it was fine. I told myself that Sophie and I would have our own Thanksgiving, just the two of us. We would make it special. We would not need them. But the hurt sat heavy in my stomach, sharp and unrelenting. 2 days before Thanksgiving, I was scrolling through my phone when I saw a video my cousin posted on social media. It was a preview of the Thanksgiving setup. The table was massive, decorated with gold chargers and fall centerpieces. The caption read, "Getting ready for the best family Thanksgiving ever." I almost scrolled past it, but then I saw the chairs. There were at least 15 of them, and seated at the table, grinning for the camera, were kids. Lots of kids. Claire's 3 children, my cousin's 2 boys, even the neighbor's kids who lived next door to my parents. Every single grandchild was there, except Sophie. I watched the video again, and again. The sound of their laughter filled my quiet apartment. I saw Mom in the background, smiling as she adjusted a napkin. I saw Dad carving a practice turkey, joking with one of the neighbor kids. Adults only. That is what she had said. Adults only because kids make it messy. But there they were, every child in the family, plus extras, all laughing. All included, all except the one whose father had been paying for that very table, that very house for 6 years. I set my phone down carefully. My hands were shaking. Not from anger. Not yet. Just from the cold, hollow realization that I had been lied to. That my daughter had been singled out. That this was not about mess or elegance. This was about erasure. Sophie walked into the room holding her latest turkey drawing. Daddy, do you think Grandma will like this one? I looked at her hopeful face, at the drawing she had spent an hour perfecting. I smiled. It took everything in me, but I smiled. I think it is perfect, sweetheart. Can we bring it to Thanksgiving? She asked. I swallowed hard. Actually, we are going to have our own Thanksgiving this year. Just you and me. How does that sound? Her face fell. Just for a second. Then she forced a smile. Okay, Daddy, that sounds fun. She went back to her room and I sat there, staring at the video still paused on my phone, at the table full of children, at my parents who had looked me in the eye and lied. That was the exact moment I stopped being the dependable son. I did not sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every interaction I had ever had with my parents. Every time they had smiled at Claire's kids and ignored Sophie, every time they had asked me for money but never asked how I was doing, every time I had convinced myself that it was fine, that I was overreacting, that this was just how families worked. But this was different. This was not a forgotten birthday or a misplaced drawing. This was deliberate. This was my mother looking me in the eye, lying to me, and then posting evidence of that lie for the entire family to see. This was my daughter being erased from a holiday she loved, not because of logistics or space, but because they simply did not want her there. I thought about all the money I had sent over the years. $5,100 a month for 6 years. That was $366,000. Enough to buy a house, enough to fund Sophie's college education twice over, enough to change our lives in 1,000 different ways. And what had I gotten in return? Polite smiles, vague thank yous, a spot at the table as long as I left the most important person in my life at home. I picked up my phone and opened my banking app. I scrolled through the transaction history, month after month of automatic transfers, mortgage payment, utility payment, car insurance, medical bills, all of it flowing out of my account and into theirs, like a river they had dammed up and redirected without ever asking if I could afford to lose that much water. I could afford it. Barely. I worked overtime. I skipped vacations. I drove a 10-year-old car and wore the same 3 pairs of jeans until they had holes in the knees. I did it because I thought it mattered. I thought I was helping. I thought, on some level, that it would earn me a place in the family that felt solid, permanent, valued. But I was wrong. I was not valued. I was useful. There is a difference. I thought about Sophie, asleep in her room, clutching the stuffed bear I had bought her for her 5th birthday. She did not know yet what it felt like to be invisible. She did not know what it felt like to give everything and receive nothing, but she was starting to learn. I could see it in the way she asked fewer questions about her grandparents, in the way she stopped expecting them to remember her favorite color or her favorite food. I had failed her, not by being a bad father. I knew I was a good father, but by allowing her to grow up thinking that this kind of treatment was normal, that love was conditional, that some people mattered more than others, and she would always be in the second category. I got out of bed and walked to the kitchen. The apartment was silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator. I poured myself a glass of water and stood at the counter, my mind racing. For the first time in 6 years, I let myself imagine what it would feel like to stop, to just stop sending the money, to stop showing up when they called, to stop pretending that I did not notice the favoritism, the lies, the quiet cruelty. It felt like stepping off a cliff, terrifying, freeing, irreversible. I thought about the video again, about the laughter, about my mother adjusting napkins and my father joking with someone else's children, about the table I had paid for, in the house I had kept afloat, at the Thanksgiving I had been lied to about. And I thought about Sophie, about the way she had forced a smile when I told her we would celebrate alone, about the drawing she had made, still sitting on the coffee table, waiting to be given to people who would never appreciate it. That was when I made my decision. I did not make it out of anger. I made it out of clarity, out of the cold, quiet understanding that I deserved better, that Sophie deserved better, that I had spent 6 years being the person they needed, and it was time to be the person I needed. I opened my laptop. It was time to audit everything. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I had not felt in years. I made Sophie breakfast, walked her to school, and then came home and locked myself in my small home office. I pulled up every financial account, every automatic payment, every digital trail of the last 6 years. The mortgage payment was the biggest, $1,500 a month, wired directly to their bank on the first of every month. I had set it up so long ago that I barely thought about it anymore. It was just another line item in my budget, another obligation. I opened the transfer settings and paused. My finger hovered over the cancel button. This was the point of no return. Once I did this, there was no pretending it was an accident, no walking it back. I clicked cancel. Next was the utility payment, $250 a month for electricity, water, and gas. I canceled that too. Car insurance, $175 a month for both of their vehicles. Canceled. Dad's prescription auto refill, charged to my card every month. $120. Canceled. The streaming services they used. The cloud storage for mom's photos. The roadside assistance plan. The gym membership Dad never used but refused to give up. I went through every single subscription tied to my accounts and cut them off, one by one. By the time I was done, I had canceled over $5,000 in monthly obligations. I sat back in my chair, staring at the confirmation emails filling my inbox. It felt surreal, like I had just dismantled a structure I had spent years building, brick by brick. I thought about calling them, about giving them a warning, but then I remembered the video. I remembered my mother's voice on the phone, so casual, so dismissive. Adults only, Nathan. You understand, right? I did not owe them a warning. I did not owe them an explanation. They had made their choice. Now I was making mine. I opened a new spreadsheet and started documenting everything. Every payment I had made over the past 6 years. Every bill I had covered. Every emergency I had funded. I pulled bank, statements, receipts, emails. I organized it all by category and date, creating a record so detailed that it could hold up in court if it ever came to that. It took me 3 hours. When I was done, I had a document that told the entire story. $366,000 over 6 years. Broken down into mortgage payments, utilities, insurance, medical bills, home repairs, and miscellaneous expenses. I saved the file and labeled it Family Financial History. Then I emailed a copy to myself and saved another copy to a USB drive. Evidence, proof, a shield against whatever was coming next. I knew they would notice eventually. The mortgage payment would bounce first, probably within a week. Then the utilities would start getting shut off. The car insurance would lapse. Dad's prescriptions would not auto-refill. I imagined the panic, the phone calls, the angry texts. Part of me felt guilty, but a bigger part of me felt something else, something colder, something that felt like control. Sophie came home from school that afternoon, and we made dinner together. She told me about her day, about the art project she was working on, about the new girl in her class who liked the same cartoons she did. I listened, really listened, and I felt the weight of the past 6 years start to lift. That night after Sophie went to bed, I sat on the couch with my laptop and scrolled through my parents' social media. They had posted more photos from the Thanksgiving prep. The table looked even more elaborate now. Gold napkin rings, crystal glasses, a centerpiece made of pumpkins and eucalyptus. I took a screenshot of one of the photos. Then I opened my files and pulled up a different image. The prepaid venue rental confirmation I had quietly covered 2 months ago when Mom mentioned they were hosting Thanksgiving at a rented event space because their house was too small. The rental had cost $2,400. I had paid it without hesitation, thinking it was for the whole family, thinking Sophie would be there. I stared at the confirmation email, at the cancellation policy clearly outlined at the bottom. Cancellations made more than 48 hours in advance receive a full refund. It was still 48 hours before Thanksgiving. I grabbed my phone. I opened my messages and pulled up the thread with my father. I attached the screenshot of the rental confirmation, the one showing my name as the payer, the total amount, and the cancellation policy. Then I typed one sentence, "Canceling this now." I hit send. The message delivered immediately. I watched the screen, waiting. 1 minute passed, then 2. Then my phone started ringing. Dad. I let it ring 4 times before I answered. Nathan, what the hell is this? His voice was sharp, panicked. Exactly what it says, I replied. My voice was calm, steady. I am canceling the venue rental. You cannot do that, he said. Thanksgiving is in 2 days. We have 15 people coming. The food is already ordered. The decorations are set up. Then you should have thought about that before you lied to me. There was a pause. What are you talking about? I almost laughed. He was really going to pretend. Mom told me Thanksgiving was adults only. She said kids make it too messy. But I saw the video, Dad. I saw every grandkid at that table. I saw the neighbors' kids. I saw everyone except Sophie. Another pause, longer this time. Then quieter. Nathan, it is not like that. Then what is it like? I asked. Explain it to me. Explain why my daughter, the one I have been raising alone for 5 years, is the only child not invited to a family Thanksgiving. Explain why I have been funding your entire lifestyle for 6 years, and this is how you repay me. We did not mean it that way, he said. His voice was defensive now. Claire's kids are just easier. They are older. They know how to behave at formal events. I felt the anger rise sharp and hot. Sophie is 7 years old. She knows how to behave. But that is not the point, is it? The point is you do not want her there. You never have. That is not true, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. It does not matter anymore, I said. I am done. I am canceling the venue, and I am canceling everything else. What do you mean everything else? The mortgage payment, the utilities, the car insurance, the prescriptions, all of it. Every single thing I have been paying for the last 6 years. It is over. You cannot do that, he said again, louder this time. We will lose the house. We will lose everything. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you erased my daughter from the family. I heard him take a shaky breath. Nathan, please. Let's talk about this. We can fix it. We can invite Sophie. We can make this right. No, I said. You cannot. Because this is not about one Thanksgiving. This is about 6 years of being taken for granted. 6 years of watching you treat Sophie like she does not matter. 6 years of me being your bank account instead of your son. We appreciate everything you have done, he said. His voice was pleading now. We do. We just did not realize how much it meant to you. You did not realize because you never asked, I said. You never asked if I could afford it. You never asked how I was doing. You never asked about Sophie. You just took, and I let you. But that ends today. I hung up before he could respond. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from adrenaline, from the rush of finally saying everything I had held back for years. The phone rang again immediately. I declined the call. It rang again. I turned the ringer off. Then I opened my email and pulled up the venue rental account. I navigated to the cancellation page, read the terms one more time, and clicked to confirm. A confirmation email appeared in my inbox within seconds. Reservation canceled. Full refund processed. Estimated arrival in 5 to 7 business days. I stared at the email for a long moment. Then I forwarded it to my father with no message. 2 hours later, there was a knock at my door. Hard. Desperate. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. Dad. I stood at the door, staring through the peephole at my father. He looked breathless, disheveled. His jacket was half-zipped, like he had thrown it on in a hurry and rushed over. He knocked again, harder this time. I took a breath and opened the door. He looked at me, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said, his voice hoarse, Nathan, please, we need to talk. I stepped aside and let him in, not because I wanted to hear what he had to say, but because I wanted him to see my face when I said no. He walked into the living room, his eyes scanning the space like he was looking for something to anchor himself to. I closed the door and stood by it, arms crossed. The venue is canceled, he said. It was not a question. Yes. Nathan, this is insane. You cannot just cancel Thanksgiving 2 days before it happens. Do you know how much we have already spent on food, on decorations, on deposits for the caterer? I do not care, I said. My voice was calm, flat. You lied to me. You excluded my daughter. You do not get to act like I am the one being unreasonable. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration written all over his face. We did not exclude her. We just thought it would be easier this year without the younger kids. Stop lying, I said. I saw the video. Every kid in the family was there. Every single one except Sophie. So do not stand here and tell me this was about age or logistics. This was about her, about me, about the fact that you have never cared about us the way you care about Claire and her family. His jaw tightened. That is not fair. Fair? I almost laughed. You want to talk about fair? Let me tell you what is not fair. Paying your mortgage for 6 years while you treat my daughter like she does not exist. Covering your utilities, your insurance, your medical bills, while you post videos of family gatherings she was not invited to. That is what is not fair. We did not ask you to do all that, he said. I stared at him. Yes, you did. Every time Mom called crying about the roof. Every time you told me you could not afford Dad's medication. Every time you made me feel like the house would fall apart if I did not step in. You asked, and I gave, and you never once said thank you. You just expected more. He looked down, his shoulders sagging. We are grateful, Nathan. We are. But you cannot just pull the rug out from under us like this. We have bills. We have responsibilities. So do I said. I have a daughter to raise, a daughter who deserves grandparents who actually love her, and I cannot keep funding your life while you erase her from it. He looked up at me, desperation creeping into his eyes. What do you want? An apology? Fine. I am sorry. Your mother is sorry. We messed up. But please do not do this. We need your help. I shook my head slowly. You do not get it. This is not about an apology. This is about respect. And you have never respected me. You have used me. And I let you. But that stops now. He opened his mouth to argue, but I held up a hand. I have been keeping record, I said. Every payment, every transfer, every bill I have covered for the past 6 years. I have bank statements, receipts, emails, all of it organized and documented. Do you want to know how much I have given you? He did not answer. $366,000, I said. That is how much you have taken from me. Enough to buy a house, enough to change my life. And I gave it willingly because I thought it mattered. I thought it meant something, but it did not. Not to you. He looked like I had slapped him. Nathan, we did not know it was that much. You did not care, I corrected. There is a difference. He stood there silent, and I could see the reality sinking in. The mortgage payment that would bounce, the utilities that would get shut off, the insurance that would lapse, the slow, inevitable collapse of the life I had been holding together for them. I am going to visit Mom, he said finally, his voice quiet. I am going to tell her we need to fix this. We will invite Sophie. We will make room. It is too late, I said. The venue is canceled. Thanksgiving is done. And so am I. He stared at me, his face pale. Then he turned and walked to the door. He paused, his hand on the handle, and looked back at me one more time. You are going to regret this, he said. I met his eyes. No, I am not. He left. The door closed behind him with a soft click, and I stood there in the silence of my apartment, feeling the weight of 6 years finally lift off my shoulders. I walked to my office and opened my laptop. I still had work to do. The next day, Thanksgiving Eve, my phone exploded. It started with my mother, 3 missed calls before 8 a.m. Then a text. Nathan, your father told me what you did. This is cruel and unnecessary. You are punishing the whole family because of a misunderstanding. Please reconsider. I deleted the text without responding. Then Claire called. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message, her voice tight with frustration. Nathan, I do not know what is going on with you, but you need to fix this. Mom is a mess. Dad is freaking out. You cannot just cancel Thanksgiving. Call me back. I did not call her back. By noon, the family group chat was blowing up. My phone buzzed constantly with messages. Claire. Nathan, answer your phone. Mom, please, we can talk about this. My cousin, who I had not spoken to in months. Dude, what is going on? Did you really cancel the venue? Another cousin. This is so messed up. My kids were looking forward to this. I muted the group chat and went back to my spreadsheet. The mortgage payment had officially bounced that morning. I knew because I checked the transaction history on my old linked account before I removed my access entirely. The bank had sent my parents a notice. Insufficient funds. Payment returned. I imagined the email landing in their inbox. The panic that would follow. By evening, my father called again. I answered this time. The mortgage bounced, he said. No greeting, no preamble, just desperation. I know, I said. Nathan, we are going to lose the house. Do you understand that? We have 30 days before they start foreclosure proceedings. Then I suggest you figure out how to make the payment. With what money? He shouted. You have been paying it for 6 years. We do not have that kind of cash just sitting around. That sounds like a you problem, I said. He was quiet for a moment, then softer. Nathan, please, I am begging you. Do not do this. Your mother is in tears. She has not eaten all day. This is destroying her. I thought about Sophie, about the way she had looked when I told her we were not going to Thanksgiving, about the forced smile she had given me. Where was Mom's concern when she lied to me? I asked. Where was her empathy when she excluded my daughter? She made a mistake, he said. People make mistakes. And people face consequences, I said. You made a choice. You chose Claire's family over mine. You chose convenience over honesty. Now you get to live with that choice. This is not just about us, he said, his voice rising again. This is about the whole family. Claire's kids, your cousins, everyone who was coming to Thanksgiving. You are punishing all of them. No, I said, I am removing myself. There is a difference. You want Thanksgiving? Plan it yourself. Pay for it yourself. Do not use my money and then pretend I do not exist. I hung up. That night I got a text from Claire. You are being selfish. This is not just about you. Grow up, I replied with one sentence. Check the family financial records I just emailed you. I had sent the spreadsheet to the entire family. Every payment, every dollar, every sacrifice I had made over 6 years. I included a summary at the top. Total contributed $366,000. Total acknowledged $0. Within an hour, my phone was ringing again. This time it was my cousin. Nathan, I had no idea. I did not know you were paying for all of this. No one did, I said, because no one asked. This is insane, she said. I thought your parents were financially stable. They act like they have money. They do not, I said. They have me, or they did. She was quiet for a moment. Then, what are you going to do now? I am going to spend Thanksgiving with my daughter, I said. Just the two of us, the way it should have been all along. By the time Thanksgiving morning arrived, the group chat had descended into chaos. Half the family was defending me. The other half was calling me cruel. My parents were silent. I turned my phone off, made pancakes with Sophie, and we spent the day watching movies and eating too much pie. It was the best Thanksgiving I had ever had. The fallout was immediate and brutal. My parents scrambled to cover the mortgage. They borrowed money from Claire, who had to dip into her savings. They sold their second car to make the first payment. They cut back on everything, groceries, utilities, subscriptions. The life they had built on my dime crumbled in a matter of weeks. The utilities were shut off 4 days after Thanksgiving. Mom called me in tears, begging me to turn them back on. I did not answer. Dad left a voicemail saying they were freezing. I deleted it. Their car insurance lapsed a week later. Dad got pulled over and received a citation. He texted me a photo of the ticket with one word. Happy? I blocked his number. Claire stopped speaking to me entirely. She sent one final message before cutting me off. You destroyed this family. I hope you are proud of yourself. I was not proud, but I was not sorry either. The family group chat dissolved. Half the family sided with me once they saw the financial records. The other half accused me of being vindictive. I left the chat and started a new one with the cousins who understood. We had our own quiet Thanksgiving the following week. It was small, simple, honest. Sophie noticed the change. She asked me one night, curled up on the couch, why we did not see Grandma and Grandpa anymore. I thought carefully about how to answer. Then I said, sometimes people do not treat us the way we deserve, and when that happens, it is okay to step back. It does not mean we stop loving them. It just means we love ourselves more. She nodded, her small hand squeezing mine. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, sweetheart. 3 months later, I got a letter in the mail. It was from my mother, handwritten on floral stationery. Nathan, I do not expect you to forgive me. I do not even know if I deserve forgiveness. But I need you to know that I am sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. I see now how much we took from you. How much we took you for granted. You gave us everything, and we gave you nothing in return. Your father and I are managing, barely, but we are managing. We sold the house. We are renting a smaller place now. It has been hard, humbling, but maybe we needed that. I hope one day you can find it in your heart to let Sophie see us again. Not for our sake, for hers. She deserves to know her grandparents, even if we do not deserve to know her. I am sorry, Mom. I read the letter 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and placed it in a drawer. I did not respond. Not because I was angry, but because I did not owe her closure. I had already found mine. Sophie and I built a new life. We took the money I had been sending to my parents and put it into a college fund. We went on our first real vacation, just the two of us, to a beach where Sophie collected shells and laughed so hard she got the hiccups. I started saying no to guilt trips, to obligations that felt heavy, to relationships that took more than they gave. And for the first time in my life, I felt light. One night, Sophie asked me if we would ever have a big family Thanksgiving again. I thought about the table full of kids, about the lies, about the years I spent invisible. Then I looked at her, curled up beside me, her eyes wide and trusting, and I said, maybe one day, but right now I think our little Thanksgiving is perfect. She smiled. Me too, Daddy. And that was enough. I had spent 6 years being the person my family needed, the dependable one, the wallet, the fixer. Now I was the person Sophie needed, and the person I needed, and that was more than enough.